This is The Beatles in America, 1964, from PRI, Public Radio International.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog.
More music, stories, and rare interviews from that remarkable year when the Fab Four from Britain overwhelmed the United States via the radio, TV, concerts, and film.
Of course, you know, there's bits that make us curl up in the film, but there's parts I like.
Show him the shirts, Adrian. I wouldn't be seeing Dad in them. The dead grotty.
Reporters who traveled with the Beatles share their stories and many tapes that haven't been broadcast since 1964.
And the American disc jockeys. So all I'm going now, I'm going to play a little bit now. Here we go, baby. Woo!
I got it when I realized at the Hollywood Bowl in the summer of '64 that the music was as good as it gets.
Stay tuned for The Beatles in America, 1964. Hi, this is Paul Ingalls. Welcome back to the second hour of The Beatles in America, 1964, the year when the Beatles conquered the hearts and minds of America's youth by conquering all aspects of American media. For many Americans of a certain age, the moment the Beatles entered their lives was one of those I remember exactly when experiences. Chris Martin and Holly Kawakami both grew up near Chicago, Mark Webber in Cucamonga, California, when that song first hit their ears.
I was riding my bicycle across some railroad tracks. I remember it so clearly. I had a little transistor radio. It was orange plastic and silver plastic, and I was always glued to WGN or WCFL. And as I was riding over those train tracks, that song came on the air. And, well, I think maybe that may have been the actual moment that I entered puberty.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you something I think you'll understand. When I say that something, I wanna hold your hand.
One of my prized possessions was a radio, but not the transistor radio like you were talking about, but the radio near my bedside. And every morning, you know, I had it on and driving my younger sister nuts with the top 40 going. I believe the first one I heard was I Want to Hold Your Hand. And then, of course, every time that came on and any other Beatles song after that, I would blast it and drive everyone nuts.
And when I touch you, I feel happy inside. It's such a feeling that my love I can hide, I can hide, I can hide.
I was at a babysitter's house in Cucamonga, California, and her son, a guy named Mike Lane, he had the record, and we were in his little room, and he played it on one of those little tiny record players, and when got done with the first time through, and I asked him to play it again, and he did that, and then I asked him to play it again, and then by about the third or fourth time, when I said, play it again, he just started, beating me up or whatever boys do. Every time I go back home and I drive by that house, I still remember that day that the Beatles' magic completely froze me to the floor, and I was just asking him to play it again. Just continue to play it. It was so good. They didn't take their foot off the pedal ever when they were going to compose. They had the main melody, and then they would go to the middle eight, and they would just try to make the middle eight even better than the main melody. They never coasted through anything. They just always got the song unbelievably great.
I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand. I wanna hold your hand.
Less than 12 weeks after I Want to Hold Your Hand hit #1 in January, the Beatles accomplished a still unmatched feat of holding the top 5 slots on the American record charts, with Can't Buy Me Love at #1, Twist and Shout 2, She Loves You 3, I Want to Hold Your Hand 4, and Please Please Me 5. Then a week later, 14 of the top 100 were Beatle tunes, including You Can't Do That at #48, from a new American Beatles album, cleverly named by Capitol Records, The Beatles' second album, in stores a mere 3 months after Meet the Beatles came out. After dominating American radio, record sales, and television in the first half of 1964, next to fall would be the film world and the concert business. That's all ahead on The Beatles in America, 1964. This is Paul Ingalls with more of The Beatles in America, 1964. For the rest of this hour, you'll hear a little more from me as we try to pack in as many Beatles stories, songs, rare concert recordings, and interviews as possible. Interviews done during the Beatles' 64 tour by former radio newsmen Larry Kane and Art Schreiber, who talked with me about their time with John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. The Beatles' grand tour of the U.S. opened in San Francisco August 19th, but in a way you could say the tour started a week earlier, as the Beatles came to cities across America via 500 theaters showing their first film.
It's been a hard day's night, and I've been working like a dog. It's been a hard day's night, I should be sleeping like a log. But when I get home to you, I find the things that you do will make me feel alright.
George, I know we watched A Hard Day's Night with you. It was very interesting to me because you were there watching the picture, and I was wondering what was going on in your mind, whether you liked yourself or not.
Of course, you know, there's bits that make us curl up in the film, especially the part on the train. It's so embarrassing. You know, that was the very first part we did. But there's parts I like.
We'd like you to give us your opinion on some clothes for teenagers.
Oh, by all means, I'd be quite prepared for that eventuality.
Show him the shirts, Adrian. Now, you'll like these. You'll really dig them. They're fab and all the other pimply hyperboles.
I wouldn't be seen dead in them. The dead grotty.
Grotty?
Yeah, grotesque.
Make a note of that word and give it to Susan. Anyway, if you don't cooperate, you won't meet Susan.
And who's this Susan when she's at home?
Only Susan Campy, our resident teenager. You'll have to love her. She's your symbol.
Oh, you mean that posh bird who gets everything wrong?
I beg your pardon.
Oh, yeah, the lads frequently sit round the television and watch her for a giggle. In fact, once we all sat down and wrote these letters saying how gear she was and all that rubbish.
She's a trendsetter. It's her profession.
She's a drag, a well-known drag. We turn the sound down on her and say rude things.
Get him out of here.
Have I said something amiss?
Get him out of here. He's knocking the program's image.
Since she's been gone, I want no one to talk to me. It's not the same, but I'm to blame, it's plain to see. So go away, leave me alone, don't bother me.
They give the teenagers something in the way of nonconformity, and I think every teenager, well, that's what they look for. Especially in this day and age, they stress nonconformity, and that's what the Beatles are.
I've got no time for you right now, don't bother me.
About your last picture, what would you say, in your opinion, was the best feature of it? The comedy, the dramatics in it, the excitement, the music? What did you enjoy most about it?
Well, all of us like the bit in the field where we all jump about like lunatics, because that's pure film, as the director told us. You know, it's just pure filming, and we could have been anybody, but we enjoyed that.
I suppose you realize this is private property.
Sorry we hurt your field, mister.
Do you ever look at the screen, and does it bother you to see yourself, ever?
Yeah, well, when you first see yourself on a big screen, you just watch yourself, you're thinking, oh, look at that ear, oh, look at my nose, you know, look at my hair stick. And each one of us did that, so by the end of the film, we didn't know what happened, we hated it.
And another question I wanted to ask, a lot of listeners ask this. When you did the picture, were you very, very nervous at the first? Because, of course, this was your first film.
Well, you can see the real nervous bits. Normally in pictures you do things back to front, like the end. You make a film of that on one day, and then the next day you do the beginning. But in this one, we almost did it in sequence, one after the other. And the first bit we did was the train, which we were all dead nervous. You can see us, you know, well, people that know us know, you know, that we're sort of dead nervous for the first. But practically the whole of the train bit, we're just going to pieces, you know, so embarrassed about it all.
Hey, pardon me for asking, but who's that little old man?
What little old man? That little old man.
Oh, that one, that's my grandfather.
Your grandfather?
Yeah.
That's not your grandfather.
It is, you know.
But I've seen your grandfather. He lives in your house.
Oh, that's my other grandfather, but he's my grandfather as well.
How do you reckon that one out?
Well, everyone's entitled to two, aren't they? And it's my other one.
We know that, but what's he doing here?
Well, my mother thought the trip would do him good.
How's that?
He's nursing a broken heart.
Ah, poor old thing. Hey, mister, are you nursing a broken heart? He's a nice old man, isn't he?
He's very clean.
I should have known better with a girl like you, that I would love everything that you do, and I do. Hey, 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 and I do. Whoa, whoa, I never realized what a kiss could be. This could only happen to me. Can't you see? Can't you see that when I tell you that I love you, oh, you're gonna say you love me too, oh, and when I ask you to be mine, you're gonna say you love me too. So I should have realized a lot of things before. If this is love, you gotta give me more. Give me more. Hey, hey, hey. Give me more.
There's a freshness there. It's so new to them, what they're doing.
Jason Emmons of Seattle's Experience Music Project.
And I think the excitement of writing their own songs, of playing music, and having this reception where audiences were really excited about them, they're not at all jaded. And it really comes through in their songs, it comes through in their demeanor. They're just head over heels in love with it.
I never realized what a kiss could be. This could only happen to me. Can't you see? Can't you see that when I tell you that I love you, oh, you're gonna say you love me too, oh, and when I ask you to be mine, you're gonna say you love me too. You love me too. You love me too.
Art Schreiber was a 37-year-old newsman for Westinghouse Broadcasting in 1964.
Lennon said to me, he said, "Do you play Monopoly?" And I thought it was a strange question. And I said, "Yeah, I haven't played for a long time, but I said, yeah, I play Monopoly." And he said, "I'll call you." Every time we would arrive, if I didn't go right to their room, he would be on the phone. He said, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm not doing anything." He said, "Come on up, let's play." Harrison, to this day, I don't know why he wanted the B&O Railroad every time we played Monopoly. He loved to get the B&O Railroad. Now, Lennon wanted Park Place and Boardwalk because they were the most expensive properties on the board. And he always felt that if he could get those, he was happy and he could win the game. Well, as you know, if you play Monopoly, lots of times they're so expensive that you can't build houses on them, and you can go broke trying to build houses on them. And we would play then, and I would fall asleep, and Lennon would poke me and say, Ot, it's your turn. And I'd say, "John, let me go to sleep. Let me go to bed. You guys can sleep all day tomorrow. I got to work all day." And he'd say, one more game. Well, we'd play all night until the sun would be coming up, and then he and Harrison go to bed, and I would have to start writing stories.
I got every reason on earth to be mad, 'cause I just lost the only girl I had. If I could get my way, I'd get myself locked up today, but I can't, so I cry instead. I got a chip on my shoulder that's bigger than my feet. I can't talk to people that I meet. If I could see you now, I try to make you sad somehow, but I can't, so I cry instead. Don't wanna cry when there's people there. I get shy when they start to stare. I'm gonna lock myself away, hey, but I'll come back again someday. And when I do, you better hide all the girls. I'm gonna break their hearts all around the world. Yes, I'm gonna break them in two. I'll show you what your loving man can do. Until then, I'll cry instead. Don't wanna cry when there's people there. I get shy when they start to stare. I'm gonna have myself away, hey, but I'll come back again someday. And when I do, you better hide all the girls, 'cause I'm gonna break their hearts all around the world. Yes, I'm gonna break them in two and show you what your loving man can do. But till then, I'll cry instead.
Lennon, I quickly learned, was a brilliant man. I believe an intellectual. He was very interested in what was happening in America. He couldn't understand why Kennedy had been assassinated, nor could anybody else at the time. He also couldn't understand the civil rights riots. And when he found out that that was one of my assignments, I covered, every major civil rights riot from Watts to New York and Buffalo to Florida and points in between. So Lennon was very interested in that.
There's very little that they did that was disingenuous.
Larry Kane was news director of a radio station in Miami, and he's recently published his memories of going on the Beatles tours in a book and CD titled Ticket to Ride.
John Lennon was as real as you can get. He was a guy who said in public what he thought in private. Often that got him into trouble.
Gentlemen, we have Ringo Starr, John Lennon, George Harrison in the room. John, there's been somewhat of a dispute yesterday. It started when we learned that Chicago officials had rescinded a plan to have the Beatles drive in front of the fans, or at least acknowledge the fans on their visit here. And in a lot of the newspapers around the country, there's been headlines like "Beatles dodge their fans," and really, there's another story behind it, isn't there?
Well, it's usually somebody comes up and says, "The police chief or so-and-so won't let you go. Jump in here," and they drag us off before we even... Sometimes we don't even know fans are there at airports, because they drag us off so quickly. There's no time at all when we say, "Let's not go over there and wave." We're always prevented one way or another. Even when they allow us to wave, they give us about half a second. They just sort of shove us in and drag us out. That's it.
There are times when these security measures are needed, aren't there?
Yeah, but usually they go overboard, because I don't know. Probably because they must be new to it or something. A lot of people seem to get overexcited.
Security became a tremendous problem. The security in New Orleans had just completely fallen apart. The concert that night was in a football stadium. The kids couldn't hear the concert very well, and they were so far away from the stage, and they, even though the police ringed the stage, they went over the wall of that stadium, and they went through the police barricades and tried to get up on the stage. It was just a mess.
Paul, were you concerned at all last night when they started to storm the stage?
No. It looks more frightening than it actually is. Because, did you see the amount of police that came out? It was like a little army, Well, you can't be worried when you know all that. amount of cops are there, to look after you.
It's a rocking little record on my dog you can play. Roll over Beethoven, gotta hit it again today. No, my temperature's rising, jukebox buzz of tunes. A heart-beating rhythm, and my soul is just singing the blues. Roll over Beethoven, rocking it 2 by 2. Well, if you feel it like it, get your mother and reel and rock it. Roll it over and move on up, just stop a brother and reel and rock it. Roll it over, roll over Beethoven, dig these rhythm and blues. Early in the morning, I'm giving you the warning. Step on my blue suede shoes. Hey, doodle, I'ma play my fiddle. Got nothing to lose. Roll over Beethoven, just take up to the news. You know she works like a glowworm and dance like a spinning top. Got a crazy partner, wanna see him reel and rock. As long as she got a dime, music will never stop. Roll over Beethoven, 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 dig to these rhythm and blues.
You're listening to The Beatles in America 1964 from PRI, Public Radio International. I'm Paul Ingalls, and this again is Larry Kane.
McCartney, on the other hand, was probably not as relaxed with the media and other people as John was, but he was the greatest stage entertainer I've ever seen. And this is a guy who made love to the audiences. Yet, in truth, and whenever I say this, people are just alarmed, he is, was, and will always be the quiet Beatle. He's very subdued in his comments, and he's really a public relations person's dream because he's always very careful about what he says.
Paul, what do you like best about America?
The music, American music.
How does that differ from your music, English?
Well, it's better, I think. The kind of stuff we like the American colored groups and things. That's better. And also it's on every minute of the day. In England it's only on, say, for a couple of hours. It's on all the time here.
Thanks, Paul.
I don't like you, but I love you. Seems that I'm always thinking of you. Oh, you treat me badly. I love you madly. You've really got a hold on me. Really got a hold on me. You really got a hold on me. You really got a hold on me. Baby, I don't want you, but I need you. Don't wanna kiss you, but I need to. Oh, you do me wrong now. My love is strong now. You've really got a hold on me. Really got a hold on me. Really got a hold. You really got a hold on me. Baby, I love you, and all I want you to do is just hold me, hold me, hold me, hold me. Tied up, tied up, wanna leave you, don't wanna stay here, don't wanna spend another day here. Oh, I wanna slip now, I just can't quit now. You've really really got a hold on me. Really got a hold on me. You really got a hold on me. You really got a hold on me. Baby, I love you, and all I want you to do is just hold me, please. Hold me, squeeze. Hold me, hold me.
Once again, Art Schreiber.
There were people, mothers and daughters, they would line up at the hotels where the Beatles were going to stay. You couldn't get within 3 blocks of one of those hotels. It was packed with teenagers.
The police struggle to hold the lines back to keep the crowd in order. It's not a simple job. The men have been chosen for their burliness here. They're having a tough time holding the kids in line.
In Dallas, Texas, they stayed at a hotel called the Cabana Motor Inn. It was a glass-enclosed hotel owned by the actress Doris Day. The morning after they arrived, I happened to be in the lobby, and there were literally hundreds of young women trying to get into the hotel, and 3 of the girls crashed through a plate glass window. It was a very ugly scene. About an hour later, when I talked to the Beatles, we usually had a daily chat, I told them about what happened, and each one of them, in their own way, broke down. I'm talking about tears in their eyes, faces between their legs. They were so upset by this, and they felt so close to their fans, that they dispatched someone to the hospital, and in the 3 weeks ensuing, they kept in touch with the girls to make sure they were okay. And there were some serious injuries there. There was plastic surgery in one case. And they just couldn't get over this, that this had happened. And their reaction to me was very telling about the kind of people they were.
If I fell in love with you, would you promise to be true and help me understand? 'Cause I've been in love before, and I found that love was more than just holding hands. If I give my heart to you, I must be sure from the very start that you would love me more than her. If I trust in you, oh please don't run and hide. If I love you too, oh please don't hurt my pride like her. 'Cause I couldn't stand the pain, and I would be sad if I knew love was in vain. So I hope you see that I would love to love you, and that she will cry when she learns we are two. 'Cause I couldn't stand the pain, and I would be sad if I knew love was in vain. So I hope you see that I would love to love you, and that she will cry when she learns we are two. If I fell in love with you.
There's more ahead about the Beatles' 1964 tour. Stories about John Lennon's long-distance baby talk to Julian. George worries about a plane crash prediction. And Ringo takes the spotlight for a while with his American and British DJ impressions. Rare recordings and great music when the Beatles in America 1964 returns from PRI, Public Radio International. My name's Paul Ingalls, and you're listening to The Beatles in America, 1964. Mostly we're just rolling around in the music, fun, and frenzy of that remarkable year. We're hearing stories and rare 1964 interviews with the band from two reporters, Larry Kane and Art Schreiber, who traveled with the Beatles on that first tour of the United States that turned 22 American cities upside down and marked a turning point in American pop culture. And although it's been written about many times before, I can't help but think that some listening here might be a bit mystified by what all the fuss was about. So in our last half hour, we'll get an occasional perspective on the question, why did the Beatles rock our world so, and in so many ways? Jason Emmons curated a Beatlemania exhibit at Seattle's Experience Music Project Museum.
Part of it is, they're cute. All the Beatles are cute. Not in a typically handsome way, but in a way that people find attractive. And I think the other big factor of it was they're funny. I mean, even now when you look back in retrospect, they're funny. I mean, they really have this sort of irreverent humor, this cheekiness that plays as well today as it did when they first came out.
How about the British disc jockeys compared to American disc jockeys? They talk as fast?
Well, they're like they're a lot slower, than the American disc jockeys. But the Americans, I'm going now, we're going to play a little bit now. Here we go, baby, woo! And it's on, but I was just sort of saying, we'd like to play a little number for you now. It's a new record by the Swindle Strudels, and it's called, I Hope You Like It. Here we go.
Tell me why you cried and why you lied to me. Tell me why you cried and why you lied to me. Well, I gave you everything I had, but you left me sitting on my own. Did you have to leave me oh so bad? All I do is hang my head and moan. Tell me why you cried and why you lied to me. Tell me why you cried and why you lied to me. If it's something that I said or done, tell me what and I'll apologize. If you don't, I really can't go on holding back these tears in my eyes. Tell me why you cried and why you lied to me. Tell me why you cried and why you lied to me. Well, I beg you on my bended knees, if you'll only listen to my pleas. 'Cause I really can't stand it, I'm so in love with you. Tell me why you cried and why you lied to me. Tell me why you cried and why you lied to me.
I have noticed that when any of you shake your head, this sends the crowd into a higher pitch of hysterics than they ordinarily are. Now, do you feel this and every once in a while deliberately shake your head in order to get them to scream a little louder?
Well, I shake mine because I can't do nothing else really. I just sort of sit in there, so I'm
To shake
I'm
your brains back into position.
George has to shake my brains back in position. I ain't got no brains. That's all I can do is sort of just move about.
Do you get a thrill out of shaking your head and hearing them squeal loud?
Well, I've shaken my head for about 5 years now, so it's just like normal. I just shake my head. I'm sorry.
The number that you are featured on, and when they turn around, and George and John and Paul turn around and point to you, and everybody squeals.
And then turn away.
What do you have any kind of a reaction, feel after you go through this night after night?
No, well, I love it, you see, because it's sort of my one little bit, and I have sort of a yell. I wouldn't call it a sing. And I have good fun, you see. I enjoy it.
Singing a song called Boys Swingo!
Thank you. Thank you, Ringo.
There were really two kinds of girls and women on the tour.
Again, reporter Larry Kane, who saw a total of 61 Beatle concerts on 3 American tours with the band.
There were the teenagers who offered what I call the Candy Kiss girls. They offered Hershey chocolates and donuts with Ringo's name on it. And this always flipped me out. Report cards. They offered report cards that they want the Beatles to sign. And then there were the older women, and some of them were parents and mothers who literally would offer intimate relationships and relations to get close to the Beatles. I know there were some people around the Beatles who took advantage of that, some of their support cast. And I know the Beatles were happy to meet some people and not happy to meet others. And there was always a very careful screening process to make sure that they were truly involved with young adults and not teenagers.
Did you ever expect the concert to do this to you?
Oh, no, I came here to sing. I'm not going to scream. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to do anything. So here I am crying. And the thing is, I touched Paul the other day. I thought, well, that's not going to be nothing. I've touched Paul McCartney. And now I've touched him. I can't touch him again, ever again. Never. I got his
Do you have anything else you want to add?
I just think that the most wonderful person I've ever met my whole life. I just love him.
Before this dance is through, I think I love you too. I'm so happy when you dance with me. I don't want to kiss or hold your hand. If it's funny, try and understand. There is really nothing else I'd rather do, 'cause I'm happy just to dance with you. I don't need to hug or hold you tight. I just want to dance with you all night. In this world there's nothing I would rather do, 'cause I'm happy just to dance with you. Just to dance with you is everything I need. Before this dance is through, I think I love you too. I'm so happy when you dance with me.
George Harrison was hardly the quiet Beatle. He was a man who only stayed quiet until he had something to say. And when he did, he offered a sense of spirituality that very, very few people would ever expect from a 20-year-old guy, 21 in the second year. George was very, very upset about the fact that Jean Dixon, who, as you know, became apparently, allegedly, an astrologer to First Lady Nancy Reagan, had predicted that the Beatles would die in a plane crash on their way from Philadelphia to Indianapolis in early September 1964. And he was so outraged by this before and after, and he was really scared.
Now we have George Harrison. George, we've been hearing rumors and reading things about a woman who has been predicting a plane disaster. What do you think about these things? What are your personal thoughts about them?
Normally I just take it with a laugh and a smile and a pinch of salt and think, she's off her head. But, it's not a very nice thing to say, is it? Especially when we're flying almost every day. But, just hope for the best, keep a stiff upper head, and away we go. You know, if you crash, you crash, don't you? When your number's up, that's it.
Are you going to go on the plane?
Oh no, I'm going on a bicycle on that particular day.
You know, in Cleveland, they stopped the concert. It is a wonder. To me, this day, I'm amazed that it didn't turn into a riot. The Beatles had just started to perform, and the fire commissioner came out on the stage. They stopped the concert because the kids were standing up on the backs of the chairs at the Civic Auditorium in Cleveland. And that was against the rules. And the Beatles were furious.
At the moment the show was stopped, when you were playing, and the man walked up on the stage, what was the first thought that ran in your mind, if you can remember?
I felt like kicking him off, you know, because it's so annoying when they come charging on stage, and the way they did just came on and just pushed George and I off the mic to him. They didn't say why. Apparently somebody was getting hurt, but we couldn't see anything. You know, nothing was really happening wild. And he just comes on shoving us off and shouting, "Get off this stage!" You know, felt like kicking him when he was a policeman.
The Beatles stormed off. Fortunately, I was standing in the wings, and Lennon said to me, "Come on, Art." And we got in an elevator and went up to the green room. The Beatles locked themselves in the green room. I grabbed a phone, called the station. I was interviewing the Beatles on KYW, and WHK had paid $25,000 to bring them to Cleveland.
Because they're so popular by this point, they can demand a lot more money. This really shifts the tables between promoters and artists. The Beatles, for example, would say, we want $25,000 in cash up front, sometimes as much as $50,000, and we want 60% of the gate. So in the past, promoters had largely had the artist, you know, in the corner, and they could make the demands. And this really turns the table. So other entertainers like Bob Hope could come in and say, look, you want me? I want the same thing the Beatles got.
The best things in life are free, but you can keep them for the birds and bees. Now give me more.
But we didn't come here intending to sightsee.
What did you intend to do? What kind of it?
To do about 30 shows and make some money.
Did you make any money, you think?
A bit. Not very much.
Money don't get everything it's due. What it don't get, I can
please. No, go away! Go away, you make me sick! Go away, you make me sick! We sit out there for 400 or 500 hours, and we get to sit here about 2 minutes!
Where I really was frightened was in Dallas. When we arrived in Dallas, there were so many people around the motel, and it was a round motel. He said, I'm going back to the loading dock. They let us out, and you know, a loading dock, you had to be hoisted up. Well, there were people up there trying to get us up, and the next thing I know, somebody's got Ringo, a girl has got Ringo around the neck, and I mean, his tongue is sticking out and his eyes are bulging. And I had fingernail grooves in my back, and the blood that just ran into my trousers. But I'll tell you, Ringo, they got him just in time, and they were trying to get, he was trying to get air into himself, because that was as close as I came. It was frightening. We had lots of close calls, but that was not fun.
I think you'll agree with me that a lot of people, in approaching you and, of course, wanting to see you or get your autograph, at times do not use proper manners.
A lot of people don't. We go in restaurants sometimes, and you can have your fork full of food halfway to your mouth, and someone will just smash it on the hand and say, sign this, without a please, thank you, or anything. And this annoys you, you know, naturally. I mean, you know, you don't want anyone just to, you know, I don't want anyone to think of me as a piece of furniture. You know, I'm not a piece of furniture, I'm a human being. You know, I have feelings the same as anyone else. We all do.
I wanna be your lover, baby. I wanna be your man. I wanna be your lover, baby. I wanna be your man. Love you like no other, baby, like no other can. Love you like no other, baby, like no other can. I wanna be your man. 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 Tell me that you love me, baby. Let me understand. Tell me that you love me, baby. I wanna be your man. I wanna be your lover, baby. I wanna be your man. I wanna be your lover, baby. I wanna be your man. 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 Wow! Man. Love you like no other, baby, like no other can. Love you like no other, baby, like no other can. I wanna be your man. 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 I wanna be your man.
Lennon had a son that was 18 months old when the tour was going on. And he would call his wife right during maybe a Monopoly game. He'd say, wait a minute, I got a call. And he would call, and then she would put the baby on, and he would talk baby talk to the baby. He would say, talk to daddy, and then he would go goo, 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 goo. Like that. Well, I wish I had just recorded some of that, and I didn't. Because we were playing Monopoly, I wasn't working at the time.
As I write this letter, send my love to you. Remember that I'll always be in love with you. Treasure these few words till we're together. Keep all my love forever. P.S. I love you. send my love to you. You know I want you to remember that I'll always, be in love with you. I'll be coming home again to you, love, until the day I do, love. P.S. I love you.
You finally decided that why try to analyze what the success or the reasons behind the success of the Beatles are? Do you still feel like that?
There's nothing you can do about it. What can you base it on? If you start with the music, you say, well, it's the music, then you say, oh, no, it is. It can't be the music. I mean, everybody plays like that. There's much better people, much better musicians. So you go on to what they wear, our hair and anything. It's a combination of all of things, and it's not worth going into. I don't know anything about it. And as we've said, we'd be managers. If you could form another group just like us, that easy, millions of people would do it. You just sort of say, I've got the formula. We'll put the hair all standing 1 foot tall to the left. We'll put them in green suits with red shoes, and that'll make it.
And there the Beatles are entering the plane as the fans stand on the concourse above, screaming and yelling and waving goodbye as you hear them in the background, because the Beatles are soon to depart for England, ending this month-long American-Canadian tour. A most fabulously successful tour. More than $1 million the Beatles have collected on this tour, as well as thousands upon thousands of fans with that familiar scream and chant.
With their total domination of American media in 1964, the Beatles assured for themselves landmark status in the U.S. cultural landscape for all time. They touched too many million Americans that year for that not to be the case. The fact that the Beatles' fairy tale and yet all too human story continued to fascinate us through the band's breakup in 1970 and as each of the four pursued solo careers, it only added weight to their influence on many lives. As I talked with so many people for this special, fans, historians, and reporters, most pegged the Beatles' phenomenal 1964 success on some combination of their looks, their humor, their accents, their individuality, or the media landscape of the times. But every one of them took exception with John's comment we heard a moment ago.
If you start with the music, you say, well, it's the music, then you say, oh, no, it is. It can't be the music. I mean, everybody plays like that. There's much better people.
The importance of the Beatles was the quality of the music that they left behind.
Wow, these guys can really write. And I think it was, the quality of the music.
I am still just incredibly amazed at the quality of the songwriting.
And the music sounded so fresh. It was, again, different.
There was something about the Beatles, and I do believe it was the music.
I think that the whole world would be not as good a place without the Beatles' music.
It's just such a perfect story, and it's completely justified by how wonderful the music is.
I got it when I realized at the Hollywood Bowl that the music was as good as it gets.
I just feel like I'm 18 years old all over again when I see them or hear them. It's a feeling that never went away from me.
And the same goes for me. Whenever you want me at all, I'll be here, yes I will. Whenever you call, you just gotta call on me, yeah. You just gotta call on me.
Support for this program comes from this station and Public Radio International stations nationwide and is made possible in part by the PRI Program Fund, whose contributors include the Ford Foundation and the John D. and Catherine T. MacArthur Foundation. Support for this hour of the Beatles in America 1964 also comes from Beatle Fan Magazine. For 25 years, the voice of Beatle fandom, with Beatle news and exclusive interviews. Subscription information online at www.beatlefan.com.
Just gotta call on me. Oh, you just gotta call on me.
Production support also from KUNM Radio at the University of New Mexico in Albuquerque. Special thanks to Larry Kane, author of the book Ticket to Ride from Penguin Paperbacks, Bruce Spicer, author of The Beatles Are Coming from 498 Publications, Art Schreiber, Al Sussman, Jerry Bowles, Diane Miriam, Elise Kosserin, Leslie Samuels Healy, Tom Cole, Sharon Ball, Jason Emmons, Bob Santelli, Tristan Klum, and cousin Brucey Morrow. Additional support from PopsyPhotos.com, preserving the legacy of Broadway's jazz and rock photographer William Popsy Randolph. Information at PopsyPhotos.com. Links to more features, reports, and information on the Beatles available online at PaulIngalls.com. Reproduction or sale of this program is prohibited, as is rebroadcast without the permission of the producer and host. That would be me, Paul Ingalls. The Beatles in America 1964 was produced at Cedar Creek Studios in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thanks for listening.
PRI, Public Radio International.